Welcome back to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. My name is Todd Getz, your host, and with me today is Lee Thompson. Lee, thank you for being on the podcast today. Why don't you just introduce yourself to our audience and let them know who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Todd. My name is Lee. I'm the founder of ClickSense. We are a growth partner that helps wellness businesses turn online visibility into booked appointments, repeat clients, and predictable revenue. So we are essentially a local SEO company, but we've kind of taken it a few steps farther. Do we have the correct system in place? Are we following up with our leads? Are we reactivating our existing patients? And really kind of bridging that gap between people just visiting our website and people actually booking on our calendars.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. People, they have this expectation that if you just get in front of enough people, the leads and the sales will just come. And that's not the case. Like there's a lot more work to do after getting the traffic. Like the traffic is important, but that's just the first step. And it's not even the hardest step, but it's the first one. So why don't we just start with, where do we want people clicking to? Because I think that even answering that question will get people so much further than what they are. A lot of people will just have a click going to a website. And who knows what's on that website, but is that really the best place to send somebody, or should it be to an informational video or maybe a lead capture page? Or what are the best options for sending traffic to a specific page?
Right. Honestly, Todd, I think we have to take it a step further back than that. Who are we actually talking to? Because what you have normally is everybody wants to send an ad campaign to a homepage. That is a horrible faux pas in the marketing industry because we are sending everybody to a general page that tells you all about the business, right? We're wasting ad spend, we're wasting time. What we want to create is basically a character for who we're talking to, right? I have different offers, I talk to different people. But once you learn that, that's the big foundational piece. Then you take it back to say, okay, all my ad campaigns go to a highly targeted landing page for this offer, not for everything I sell. But for this offer, this is what I'm targeting this ad campaign for. And you're going to get much better results, hyper-focused on who you're actually trying to sell this product or service to.
So with that, I mean, we work with a lot of people who they might do weight loss coaching or health coaching, nutrition, or even life coaching, or even business coaching, whatever it is. But a lot of times they have a very broad and generic message that goes to a very broad and generic website. So if what I'm gathering from you is correct, what we want to do is get more specific with who we're targeting and then send them to a page that speaks directly to that person. Is that right?
Correct. And, honestly, for the entirety of my business, and I've been in business since 2018. So I've probably torn down and rebuilt it about 6 times since I started, right? I fought kicking and screaming to niche down. I was like, why would I do that? Why would I not try and sell my service to everybody that I can help? And what I found kind of moving specifically towards wellness, at least for my business, and every mentor I ever talked to recommended it, me thinking I'm smarter. Of course, no, I don't need to do that. It's fine. I've absolutely made a huge night and day difference in the amount of work I have to do. Everything is better systemized. And honestly, I get better results for clients because I know the industry. I know who I'm talking to. I know what their needs are. So I think it makes a huge difference, whether you're an online business, whether you're a local service business, really deciding who you're able to help and kind of targeting that area really specific.
So what's an example of how you would do that? And whatever it might be, whether it's a health and wellness or a B2B type of a thing, can you give us an example of niching down like that?
Yeah. I think my favorite story with it is the difference, because I used to work with everybody, right? So I had personal injury lawyers, I had pet photographers, I had people in the wellness industry. So compared to, let's say, a personal injury lawyer, if it doesn't matter what he spends with me for the year, if I get him 1 or 2 really solid cases, ad spend's covered. Everything's fine. I'm happy. Everything's good. If I can prove that I got him that lead. But with a wellness business, if I get them 1 or 2 leads a year, that's next to nothing for them. Is it recurring revenue? Is it a good lifetime value? Great. But 1 to 2 people is not going to make up for the marketing budget that we have put aside for it. So I have to get them more business, more recurring revenue, bring these customers back. And it's the difference in those 2 niches at the back end work is astronomical. I have completely different goals between the 2 businesses.
Okay, so you're even thinking about this from a scalability aspect and even just the ability to work with these people and get them a result. So niching down to the personal injury lawyers for you is a much more time efficient and profitable venture than trying to target health coaches.
In theory, I think one, I've learned that I like wellness businesses better than I think I like personal injury. But the amount of work behind it, there would be much larger retainers with personal injury, right? But you would have to do essentially the amount of work for one business that you would do for 5 to 10 for the other ones. So as far as bandwidth and what I'm able to do, I think that piece, I like wellness industries because I can create theirs, set it up, get it ready to go, utilizing some AI, using some things. And then we are able to maintain that a lot better and help a lot more businesses.
And even from a marketing standpoint, it's easier to market to just a health and wellness business and get them into a book call versus trying to market to any type of a business.
Correct. It is. And unfortunately, and you said it in the beginning, right? In this industry, so many people have been burned by bad agencies, bad marketing, all the above. And, we have a lot to overcome with that. But I think looking at it as a whole picture and not just a targeted, I got you traffic, I did my job. We're looking to kind of expand on that and kind of bring additional revenue in because we all need to make revenue in our business, right?
So from an ad perspective, if you were to run an ad for this, basically what we're talking about is the difference of, say, running an ad that says SEO services, get your website ranked in the top front page of Google right now, or whatever it is, and then clicking on that, going to a website that says SEO services. Going from something like that to, hey, if you've got a health and wellness business, we can rank you in the top search results in your area for weight loss, for this, that, and the other thing. And then people clicking on that ad, going to a website, again, that's specific to that avatar and their pain points and their goals and desires.
Correct. And even in reverse, right? With let's say a TRT clinic, they're not marketing testosterone replacement to 15-year-olds, 20-year-olds, right? They're marketing in kind of the higher 30, 40, 50, 60 age group. And they have to be specific about that to get the right people in their door.
And so even the targeting, you have to think about who are you targeting with that ad. And it depends where you're running it, right? If it's on Facebook or Google or some search-based engine, you want to make sure that you're targeting the right keywords, targeting the right audience interests and things like that.
Exactly. And I'm a big Meta fan. I didn't used to be. Since the recent updates and everything, I've become a huge fan. Unfortunately, social media knows exactly who we are, who we talk to, who our friends are, interests, all the above. There's the data that they can pull makes for an extremely effective ad campaign. You can locally target it, right? It's only going to deliver to people in a local area as long as you set those parameters. So I think compared to Google ads, I'm going to have a lot higher ad spend on a Google ad than I am on a Meta ad. But it depends on the business we're working with, because some are going to benefit more from search than somebody scrolling through their feed.
Well, I was going to say, it wasn't too long ago, I interviewed somebody who had, what was he doing? He was doing like a weight loss thing for kids. And he was doing really well with Google ads, but not so well with Meta ads. But the thing for him was, I think he was targeting keywords that were very low competition. There was not a lot of competition for what he was doing. And so I think that was the issue with him, is that he was able to zero in on a very specific avatar and very specific search terms that nobody else was competing in.
He found his area. He knew exactly who he was talking to.
So that kind of brings me to the other part of that, is that people will often jump into ads and they're getting the clicks, but they're not getting the conversions. And I know that the instinct most people have is to blame the ads. And I'll see it all the time. Like, I'm in a bunch of Facebook ads groups, and every time there's an algorithm change, everybody's like all up in arms. I was like, oh, Facebook just blew up their ads and they don't work anymore. And, they're swearing it off. And it happens so often. So it's so predictable. But anybody who's been around for a while is like, okay, yeah, you just have to adapt. What is it that makes that traffic convert on the other end? So we've identified the avatar. What else do we need to have in place to make sure that we're converting on that traffic?
I have a chiropractor client. He's local in Atlanta where I'm at. So I was actually going out to his clinic to take a look earlier this week. And it turned out, so like when I first started with him, he was one of those that I can sell anybody anything. I just have to get him on the phone. He's really good at it. Honestly, like he was trying to sell me while I was there. But what we found, we took a quick look at his website and he hadn't had a new client in probably about 6 weeks. weeks. And he's like, this is weird. I've got people coming in the door. We have an ad campaign running, but I don't have any new customers coming in, any new patients, he was getting referrals and things like that, but nothing from his marketing efforts. We took a quick look at his website. He had 400 visits per week, but what he had was a lead form at the very bottom of his page. And he's like, no, I've always used a lead form. It's been fine. No way to book. Somebody could call or book on the lead form. And depending on your audience, again, who are you talking to? Not everybody wants to make a phone call anymore. Not everybody wants to shoot a lead form and wait for an answer. They are looking at 3 or 4 different places on their phone while they're eating dinner. It's become something that we've added a booking widget, and booking widget that we use with everybody, to his website, went up 60% into just having the booking widget. So when we talk about conversion, we have to make it easy. We have to make it straightforward. What do I want this person to do? Well, I want them to book an appointment. That's what I want them to do. Here's how you do it. It's frictionless. I don't need your entire life's history. I'll get that when you come in the building. Why spend 30 minutes filling out a form before you even walk in, when if I need this, okay, cool, we'll get it when you come in. You've booked your appointment, you're set up, we'll see you on this day. And that's the conversion piece. You've got to make it easy. You have to make it frictionless, or people are going to drop these days.
That's a really interesting point about the booking widget versus just a lead form. Because when you said that, I started thinking about all the times going to a local service business, whether it's detailing, whether it's a vet for my dog, whether it's a lawyer, whatever else it is. Roofing, I will go to a website and a lot of times that's all there will be is a lead form. And I'll look at it. And in my mind, I'm like, I've been burned so many times on these things where I filled it out and not gotten a response. Even though it may only take me 2 or 3 minutes to fill it out, it's like, I'm not filling this out and then getting a response 2 weeks later when I don't need the service anymore. I'm going to look for another website that has something predictable. And I think that's it. Just having something that is predictable for the customer or client, where they know, okay, I got this appointment on this date and I know I'm going to be able to talk to somebody and get the problem fixed, rather than just leave it up in the air and, oh, hopefully, this leak in my roof is going to get fixed. I don't know. Well, hopefully they get back to me.
Well, it's so funny because when we look at these service businesses, I did it with stump removal this week. I reached out to 2 places. One got back to me, had already booked, and he already showed up and given me a quote by the time the other one even returned my message. And they're like, okay, we'll just take some pictures and let us know. I'm like, sorry guys, I already got this covered. Like it was covered hours ago. The guy's already been here. Like, I'm going with him. So it makes a huge difference in a service business, but honestly, any business, if you don't follow up with your leads, you're going to lose. 2 days doesn't work anymore. It's got to be fast. How do you do that? Right? You automate it now. So for example, for my business, if somebody calls me right now and I miss the phone call because I'm obviously doing something, or anybody on my team, but they'll get immediate text message back as a missed call. Say, hey, missed your call. How can we help? Just simple, easy, and it brings them into our ecosystem, right? They get that instant contact now, whether it's a bot, whether it's a person, doesn't matter. They got a reply. I do it within 2 minutes. I don't do the instant reply because that makes me feel weird, but they get a reply. And now, no matter who they're talking to, it goes right to the CRM. So a member of my team picks it right up from there. So we catch that lead before they disappear, but we also rely on our team to pick it up. I'm not a big fan of having people just talk to chatbots forever, but I think it makes a big difference. And I mean, we don't lose a lot of leads that reach out to us because we have these systems in place. Because I know I can't do it myself. The busier we get, there's no way. My team can't handle it either. So we've got to have those kind of stops to say like, okay, how can I make sure that I'm not just leaking revenue out the door?
Have you played at all with AI agents for incoming calls and things like that? Because I know that's a thing. Do those work well, or do you need to use them in moderation?
Moderation, definitely. I have one for our website, and it's more of like piloting it a little bit. It's not one of my strong service offerings. I'm playing with it for me, and the goal is for this bot to book the appointment. And if they ever get stuck, let me send a message to a member of the team. I'll have somebody reach out to you. So it's got a lot of fail safes to it. We've had it running 2 months, and I've probably got 10 leads from it, 7 to 10, somewhere around there. So I think like it has utility, but I think you have to be careful how you use it. It's not going to do it for you. It's not going to cover everything without a team member. Your virtual receptionists are only going to have so much ability to take care of your customers depending on your field. So
Have you tested that against just allowing people to leave a message? Like, is it definitely getting more leads and more customers versus leaving a message and following up later?
It is getting more than leaving a message and follow up later. Definitely not better than my missed call text back. That one is probably my primary offering because it works for everybody. Leaving a message, but then you got to have somebody check the voicemail. Even if you have like the email deliverability, it still has to go to a member of the team. You still have kind of gaps. You still have drops in communication. So I think like leaving voicemails, I don't even have a voicemail anymore. I'm not a fan. Having said that, I like that instant communication piece, but we'll still see how the AI version goes from a let me talk to this AI versus just talking to a person.
Now, with generating that traffic and then converting it to leads and sales, have you tried anything on the front end? Because I know you work with a lot of local service businesses. I know a lot of our audience are online business owners or online coaches, on course creators and things like that. Or have you tested something else other than a booking widget or something like that? For example, a lead generation PDF, like a landing page for a free PDF download that puts them on an email list and marketing campaign. Have you tried things like that?
We actually have one running for us. We call it the wellness growth roadmap. I mean, it's essentially, we use it for our wellness clients. What they do is they basically get the free PDF, they enter their email, it gets emailed to them. And then they use these check boxes to say, am I doing this in my business? So we have kind of 8 categories that say a successful business does these 8 things. If you're missing one of these, there's an area you can help. So from a sales perspective, it almost sells my service for me because the owner can see, hey, I have these gaps. I don't have these things. Do they actually work? And then that's where we kind of talk about it in the sales process to what works for them. But I think in that piece, we're also able to kind of get interested people. It helps with our ads targeting. It helps with all of these things for people coming into the ecosystem. And for an online business, anybody that's interested in my free thing would probably be interested in my thing that I sell. Some people want to try it on their own, right? They try it successfully or unsuccessfully for 2 to 3 months. But that's where that automation comes back in. I've got their email. It's a check-in. Hey, how are you doing? I saw you got my thing 2 months ago. Have you done anything with it? Have you run into any problems? Anything I can help with? And then that kind of organically leads us into it. So I think a lot of these things have a lot of crossover between businesses, but I think it's how we utilize it for each one.
I like that idea of that gap analysis to identify those shortcomings in their businesses, because then you know exactly how to market to them once you get them on a phone or with your emails. I mean, you can segment your email. There's all sorts of things you could do with that information.
And I think we're able to build those profiles we're able to build them out between different pipelines in the CRM, different areas, different stages of the buyer journey. And some are just informational. Right. I had somebody that was watching my things for like 2 years and he ended up getting on a call with me. He's like, I've been doing all these little things you've been saying to do. They're working. He's like, I just can't keep track of them. He's like, I do it really well for 1 to 2 months. And then I don't do it for 6 months because I got busy. And then when I come back to it, it works. And then I'm doing it. And then I get busy and forget about it. So it's kind of, he came to us because the things we told him to do work. And he's like, all right, do it for me.
So one of the other things you were mentioning was follow-up. And I know that is super, super important. You can't just expect people to fill out a form or download a PDF or do a gap analysis or a quiz or whatever and expect them to always take that next step. So I assume that at the end of that quiz or the assessment, there's some sort of an invitation to book a call. I am assuming not everybody books a call at that point. What happens then if they don't book a call? Is it just email follow-up? Are you retargeting with ads? Are you calling those leads? What are you doing to follow up with them at that point?
I'm not a big blow up everybody's phone fan, especially with all the spam rules and everything going on with phones. So we usually send them a message, a text message, and an email when they get the download. They get the opportunity to book a call, say, hey, let's walk through it. It's free, 30 minutes, not a big deal. No sales pitch, just let's see where you are. So if they don't move forward, then we put them into basically a follow-up sequence. So we've got 8 pre-drafted emails, just check-in points. Sometimes we'll throw like a little tip in there. Sometimes we'll say, hey, did you get a chance to review it yet? Love to talk it through with you. Did you have any questions? And we kind of open that easy line of communication through email, or they have our phone number once we text them. So some people tend to text, and we always give them the option in email to send me a text rather than send them 50 text messages in a week. But I think we get, usually by my fourth email, I usually get people that I would have normally dropped off had I been trying to do it myself. So I think these sequences are so important. And again, you're curious. I'm not trying to sell them something every time I send them an email. I'm trying to make sure that they read the thing that I know is going to help them. And did you have any questions that I can clear up? Was there anything ambiguous that you're just stuck on? Or do you need recommendation? Not everything has to go through me. I have plenty of partners, So it's one that my goal is to help you do better, because I wish there was somebody who was helping me at the beginning of my business, and it would have made my life a lot easier.
Now, in any part of this process, do you have any sort of a webinar or a VSL or some sort of an information video that sells people on what you do and how you do it? Or is it strictly just the job of the ad to get to a book call and then you do all the selling on the phone or over a Zoom call?
I've tested both. My current ad campaign that I have right now is kind of in its learning phase. So we're doing ad to lead form to the PDF download and then same follow-up sequence. We have our next step once we get a little more data that's going to go add to VSL. I'm a big VSL fan, just to outline my service offering. I think mine is like 4.5 minutes, but it should be 2 to 5 minutes. It shouldn't be a ton of time that people are spending, because a lot of people are going to drop off if it's a 12-minute video they suddenly clicked on. But add the VSL to the download to book a call. It's kind of the same process. We just kind of took the lead form out and put the VSL inside. So same general architecture. Historically, our VSLs have done dramatically better. And mostly because you see who you're working with, right? You get a quick summary. And again, if we're targeted right, I've hit plenty of your pain points the whole way down that video. And you're saying, no, that actually is me. He knows what I'm going through. He may actually be able to help. Versus, yeah, if you have a wellness business, I can help you with marketing. That's not going to help anybody.
Right. Right. So going back to that example, you said you had a guy it was like 2 years after that you reached out and asked for help. If your email follow-up is only 8 emails long, it seems like there's a gap in there. Did he just find you on his own, or were you still communicating with him through email? Like, what was happening between those first 8 emails and then the time that he actually reached out?
This was social content that he'd just been kind of in the background watching for a long time. He hadn't actually entered any of my funnels, but honestly, for years ago, I was not nearly as proficient at building funnels and ad campaigns and all those things. That's been a learning curve for us over probably the past 4 or 5 years. As of now, I feel like I have under control, but for a few years, we were still kind of building that area just to get our name out there for the same thing we recommend to our clients, right? We have to try things out. We have to test things. We have to do a lot to make that work.
One of the things we often say on this podcast is that the most important part of your business is that top of funnel, is getting exposure, getting the traffic, and then generating the lead. And that generating the lead is, I think, the pivot point. Because once you get them into your system on your email list and you can market to them, now they're in that nurture phase. And that's really, in our opinion, that's like where the sale happens, is in that nurture process. If there's just one big piece of advice that you could give people that would help them to convert that traffic into that lead, what would you say that most important thing is?
I think really making sure that we follow up with these leads, right? I think we lose so many customers just not following up, just letting them drift off into space. There are plenty of gurus and things around there. Like, I think the company Call the Damn Leads. Like, I think that's one of his big things is you've got to reach back out to people. You can't let your leads go stale. And especially nowadays, we've got to follow up with them quickly to keep their attention.
Now, you've got a freebie that can help people with this process, right?
Yeah. So our wellness growth roadmap, it's our lead magnet. It has probably cut our sales calls in half. And it's more of a really evaluate yourself. Honestly, look at these systems. Do I do these things in my business? And it has a lot of crossover. We named it the Wellness Growth Roadmap because we're targeting wellness industries. But if you have any type of business, these things have merit, right? They're how you've built your business, they're foundational systems, they're set up, they're all the above. So we offer that for free through our website. I think there's a link that we're putting on here too, but it's clicksense.io/WGR for Wellness Growth Roadmap. Free PDF download. Take a look at it. Rate your own business. Be honest with yourself. Make sure that you check everything. it'll give you a score on where you are. And, we're happy to help with any general questions, anything like that too.
Awesome. Well, we will have the link for that in the show notes. If people want to check you out online, they want to connect with you, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn are kind of our primary platforms. And you can also send us a direct message at clicksense.io. So we're pretty easy to get in touch with.
Cool. All right. Well, we will have the links for all of that in the show notes. Everybody be sure to check that out. Lee, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We really enjoyed having you on here. I think our audience got a lot of value out of this. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed it.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. The strategies and earnings mentioned by our guests represent their individual experiences and results. Nothing shared on this show should be considered a guarantee of earnings or success. The views, opinions, and claims expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official views of the Digital Trailblazer podcast or its hosts. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, legal, or business advice. Please do your own research and consult with qualified professionals before making any business decisions.